For years, the Crosse Center has explored a multi-million-dollar expansion and renovation project.
And after multiple interviews and meetings, 3 companies were selected for project management services and to create concepts and designs for the project. Using city funds, they went to work.
But a News 8 investigation uncovered some questionable reimbursement claims. News 8's Mal Meyer is live in our studio tonight with more. Mal.
Mike and Martha, the city gave the Crosse Center board a $2 million budget to plan for the proposed changes. And so far, the board has spent about 35% of that budget. I requested all the reimbursement invoices to date from the companies working on the project. And in those bills paid for by the city of La Crosse, I found thousands of dollars in questionable restaurant, hotel, and travel fees. But asking questions, I found that it wasn't just an issue with spending, but also government oversight. This is a stack of invoices starting in May of 2017 for all of the reimbursable claims for the consultants working on the La Crosse Center expansion project. While it is common practice for city government to pay for consultant expenses like meals and travel when planning public projects, questionable details began to appear in July of 2017. Line items show a $500 team dinner at the Waterfront Restaurant, a $200 team dinner at Love Child, a $450 team dinner at the Waterfront Restaurant, a $180 team dinner at The Mint, a $300 team dinner at Kate's Pizza Amore, a $197 dinner for one. One person claimed $445 in meals over 2 days. These reimbursement claims were made by ISG and its subcontractor Gensler, the companies hired by the city to design potential renovations to the La Crosse Center. I brought questions about these charges to the mayor, who said he was unaware of these details.
That is on the La Crosse Center board to be looking at those and really scrutinizing what we're paying.
The president of the La Crosse Center board, Brent Smith, says the board was aware of these charges.
Some of the bills that we saw for things like meals, hotels, different things that we said we're not going to pay, or that we wanted to be at a reduced rate.
Brent Smith and Art Fay, the director of the center, say they did negotiate down the prices with ISG and Gensler.
Some of those things that we had on there, we challenged, they took off the invoice because they agreed with us, and we wanted to make sure that they understood we're watching this very closely.
And the La Crosse Center board was concerned about other charges for things like hotel rooms.
These are not normal and customary, let us negotiate it, and we'll have the opportunity to go out and get our own hotel rooms for them.
But a News 8 investigation found even after the board's efforts, there were still questionable charges.
Call it the awareness that your investigation for this potential piece.
Brent Smith contacted ISG, which offered a solution.
ISG advanced this proposal of, hey, we'll credit this back while we look into it.
The contractor is issuing a $4,439.57 credit for the meal expenses, not because of how much was spent, but because these charges lack detail. The company plans to provide more detail in its reimbursement requests in the future.
Call it the plan to address activities in the past, plus I guess heightened due diligence on it moving forward.
I asked Brent Smith what the La Crosse Center board learned from this.
What this process has shown to me is that people who do work for any governmental entity, whether it be the city or any governmental entity, should give more detail.
That includes clarification on how many people were at group meals.
Then I think it's fair to say that the governmental officials who review those bills should ask questions if they don't have that detail.
Because it comes down to groups like the La Crosse Center board that uses public funding to provide that critical government oversight. Looking at the contract for ISG and Gensler on the city's website, part of that document did allow for reimbursement of transportation, authorized travel, and things like meals. City and La Crosse Center board officials say the contracts are below the agreed upon budget for that, but did not cite a specific number.
All right, but going forward, how does the city make sure or ensure when it comes to expenses like meals or travel or hotels that these things are being limited?
So I did request an interview with the mayor to ask questions like that, but unfortunately he was not available at this time for a follow-up interview. However, in an email he said that the city has budgeted for this specifically in terms of this project with ISG and Gensler, and right now they are below that budgeted amount, though no exact numbers were cited.
All right, taking a look at where your tax dollars are being used. Thanks, Mal.